The MAGA movement is fundamentally built on hypocrisy. These people are shameless liars. Their ideas run completely counter to their actions. The only consistent thing about them is how inconsistent and contradictory they are. And nowhere is that clearer than in Donald Trump's claim that he is a man of faith with Christian values, like stealing, cheating on his wife, selling $60 Bibles when he's never read them. Yeah, it's a complete lie from Donald Trump, and one he does not like to be called out on, which is exactly what happened today at Pope Francis's funeral when one of the cardinals delivering a homily called out Donald Trump's despicable and immoral agenda. And we are going to check it out. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, this isn't the first time that a religious leader has called out Donald Trump lately, and I think maybe this cardinal was spurred on by a different religious figure, a bishop, who called out Trump in this clip right here.
Let me make one final plea, Mr. President. Millions have put their trust in you. And as you told the nation yesterday, you have felt the providential hand of a loving God. In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now. There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families, some who fear for their lives. And the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meat packing plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they may not be citizens or have the proper documentation, but the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals. They pay taxes and are good neighbors. They are faithful members of our churches and mosques, synagogues, wadara, and temples. I ask you to have mercy, Mr. President, on those in our communities whose children fear that their parents will be taken away, and that you help those who are fleeing war zones and persecution in their own lands to find compassion and welcome here. Our God teaches us that we are to be merciful to the stranger, for we were all once strangers in this land. May God grant us the strength and courage to honor the dignity of every human being, to speak the truth to one another in love, and walk humbly with each other and our God for the good of all people in this nation and the world. Amen.
Now, obviously, that clip went mega viral, and for good reason. And I think maybe in part it is what spurred on Cardinal Giovanni Battista to give the homily that he did, referencing Pope Francis many times, calling out Donald Trump for his attacks on immigrants and the way that he portrays them, the way that Donald Trump fearmongers. And we can see that in his homily. A little clip from it right here.
His gestures and exhortations in favor of refugees and displaced persons are countless. His insistence on working on behalf of the poor was constant. It is significant that Pope Francis's first journey was to Lampedusa, an island that symbolizes the tragedy of immigration, with thousands of people drowning at sea. In the same vein was his trip to Lesbos, together with the ecumenical patriarch and the Archbishop of Athens, as well as the celebration of a Mass on the border between Mexico and the United States during his journey to Mexico. Of his 47 arduous apostolic journeys, the one to Iraq in 2021, defying every risk, will remain particularly memorable. That difficult apostolic journey was a balm on the open wounds of the Iraqi people who had suffered so much from the inhuman actions of ISIS. It was also an important trip for interreligious dialogue, another significant dimension of his pastoral work. With his 2024 apostolic journey to 4 countries in Asia and Oceania, the Pope reached the most peripheral periphery of the world.
The Cardinal was also not shy in calling out Trump and Vance when describing Pope Francis incessantly raising his voice, imploring peace and calling for reason and honesty negotiated to find possible solutions. Building bridges, not walls, was an exhortation he repeated many times. Now, of course, we recently saw the Pope kind of blow off J.D. Vance before J.D. Vance, I don't want to make too bad of a joke here, but maybe ended his will to, I don't want to make that joke, but really J.D. Vance might be the Antichrist. Let's just put that out there. Oh, we just have to say that. But clearly, this cardinal alluding to the Pope's many calls out of Donald Trump and his fear-mongering around immigration, his attacks on anyone who is different from him, which, if you've done any little bit of reading of the Bible, isn't exactly super Christ-like. What a shock from Donald Trump, the man who makes gold statues of himself isn't really introspective or looking to the teachings of Christ. This isn't particularly new information, but it is great to see Trump called out in front of millions, if not, I don't know, 1 billion people watching the Pope's funeral all around the world. But it wasn't the only time that we saw an important call out around Trump recently. Now, this wasn't of Senator Ossoff, but it was directed at Senator Ossoff. Someone asking him what Democrats are doing to fight back, and I thought the senator's response was so perfect that I just want to check it out.
Why are there no calls for impeachment? This is unacceptable. I will not live in an authoritative country, and neither will any of these people. You can do more. Think outside the box. He needs to be impeached. I will not live like this. My dad is retired full-bird Army colonel. My parents are healthcare. I have a son with autism. I have kids that attend Title I school. Do you think that there's nothing can be done? No. Do something more. I like you, and I will vote for you if you are brave and you do what we need. We need him impeached. We need him removed.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. There is no doubt that this president's conduct has already exceeded any prior standard for impeachment by the United States House of Representatives. I mean, I saw just 48 hours ago, he is granting audiences to people who buy his meme coin. Did you guys see this? So it is, in our corrupt political system, it is a standard practice, tragically, for elected officials to grant audiences and time to people in exchange for campaign contributions. He is granting audiences to people who purchase the meme coin that directly enriches him. So, where is everybody who was so furious about Hunter Biden's paintings which, by the way, I do not defend, when the sitting president of the United States is selling access for what are effectively payments directly to him, there is no question that that rises to the level of an impeachable offense. And the reality is that that's just one of many. Defying a federal court order, for example. So, I agree with you. But as I said at the beginning, I also have no choice but to be candid with you about the situation that we face and the tools that are at our disposal. As strongly as I agree with you, man. And I regret if this is an unwelcome response, but my job is to be honest with you. The only way to achieve what you want to achieve is to have a majority in the United States House of Representatives.
I think it is important that Senator Ossoff kind of just level set there, saying, we're not in the majority. And I didn't like when Leader Jeffries said that about a complete inability for Democrats to push back. I understand that there are lots of legislative disadvantages that we are at, but Mitch McConnell sure did stall a lot when he was in the minority. He did oppose. There are still things we can do. I know we can't exactly pass all of the legislations of our wildest dreams. We can't bring forth articles of impeachment that would ever see the floor because of Mike Johnson, but there are still tools at our disposal, and we need to continue to use them. And the midterms are not that far away. We need to start, and if we haven't already, continue organizing. We need to fight back. There is so much to talk about, especially the case of Senator Ossoff lately and a possible opponent for him in that Senate race in Marjorie Taylor Greene, talking about corruption, which is what he did right here.
Well, it's amazing, isn't it, when these members of Congress and, political allies of the president have perfect market timing. I mean, Lawrence, your viewers no doubt recall that in 2020, I unseated a supposedly unbeatable Republican incumbent senator here in Georgia. And a big part of that was COVID stock trading, right? He was among those senators who was dumping stocks and buying up shares in medical manufacturers around the time that Congress was getting briefed on the COVID pandemic while telling the rest of the country everything would be fine. And here we are again, where Donald Trump's handpicked candidate to challenge me for that Senate seat in Georgia is executing magnificently timed stock trades around these tariff announcements, while my constituents in Georgia are seeing their 401ks get absolutely clobbered.
I feel like corruption especially is something that we need to be hammering home all the time, because I just feel like it's this, interweaving connective tissue all throughout the administration. And it is a perfect way to frame all of Donald Trump's actions: incompetence, corruption, and criminality. And we're going to continue to call those out on this show every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.